For most people who enjoy the sport of basketball, the question of who is the GOAT is a question that I think many people hear often. As a sports fan myself, I believe that I've heard every major argument for every major player. And for the most part, the man that people pick is Michael Jordan. And for good reason. Jordan's method of play is something that was imitated by many players that had came after him. He was also a defensive nightmare and an athletic prodigy. But what I want to focus on today is the ability to score. And his mid-range shot is something that nobody in his time was able to master like he did. His ability to get to the rim as a guard also brought fear into those who had to defend him. However, I believe that there was a man that was a more skilled scorer than Michael Jordan. That man is Kobe Bryant. Before I dive into statistical arguments, I would first like to talk about why I think many people disqualify Kobe from the argument. The first of which would be that they think Kobe imitated Michael's game too much. I think that's unfair for a couple of reasons. For one, I think Kobe imitated many players before and after him. As cited from Time.com, published November 29th, 2015, no author given, he imitated players such as Michael Jordan with his mid-range, Dirk, the way he faded and his high shot form on his mid-range, as well as Tim Duncan's ability to use the backboard. I also think that imitating a player shouldn't disqualify you anyway. If anything, it should embolden your argument towards being the greatest of all time. I think that learning from what other players have done and have worked their whole lives to do and managing to do it during your career is incredible. And I don't understand why that's something that is used against him. Now, I talked about Kobe and Michael Jordan having similar jump shots. They also have similar statistic accolades. For example, Kobe and Michael shot almost identical three-point percentages. Kobe was able to shoot 33%, Michael was able to shoot 32%. However, it is important to note that Kobe shot one more three-pointer per game than Michael Jordan, meaning that he shot at such a high volume and was still able to shoot at a higher percentage than Michael Jordan did. As cited from, as you can see here, their individual player tabs from basketballreference.com, no author or date given, Kobe also ended with more total points scored, as well as more points in one singular game. Jordan was able to score 60 in one game, which is an impressive feat, but Kobe was able to score 81, 21 more points in a singular game. Now, as much as I enjoy looking at stats when it comes to sports, there's a reason why comparing these two's career stats is a little unfair towards Kobe. As you can see here, Michael Jordan retired twice in his career, one point of which for 3 years when he was out of his prime. The reason that keeps his points per game high at 30 versus Kobe's at 25 is because he didn't have to continue playing at his point in time in his career where his points per game would begin to drop. He only played 2 years in that period of time. Kobe never retired, and he never quit. There was only one season of which he missed almost an entire season, and that was because he tore his Achilles at the end of the previous season. It is also important to note that Michael Jordan started at a later point in time in his life in comparison to Kobe Bryant. Kobe started directly out of high school. Therefore, as an 18-year-old kid playing against the best the world has to offer, as well as being the first high schooler drafted high in the draft, he didn't even get to start in his first 2 years of his career. Jordan got to play in college, a period of time from which, as cited from Time.com, published November 29th, 2015, Jordan got to play his young careers in college in which he averaged 18 points per game, much lower than his career average in the NBA of 30. I also believe that you could turn to many actual professional players for this argument as well. Even Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan's main number 2 guy, his main teammate, has stated that he believes Kobe was the more skilled scorer. He thinks that Michael Jordan's scoring came more from athleticism than it did skill. As cited from an interview with Thuzio, no specific publisher given for the website, and I couldn't find the date on the interview. He also stated that he believes that because Kobe was the less athletic of the two, he needed to build his skills up more in order to match Jordan's scoring. Kobe also played on a team with other scorers. Jordan played on a team that needed him to score. Kobe was competing at the beginning of his career with a man named Shaquille O'Neal, who him and Kobe are both considered to be top 10, if not top 5 players of all time. And they were fighting with each other for baskets. Jordan got to play on a team with rebounders and defenders, arguably the greatest supporting cast of all time, of which he was able to score freely. Now, I do understand that I am not making the greatest player of all time, period, argument. I am just making the scoring argument. I do have to acknowledge Jordan's championship success, 6 rings undefeated in the finals, and his defensive accolades. However, I believe if you were to look statistically, as well as look into the players' opinions of the NBA, it is inarguable to believe that Kobe Bryant was the better scorer of the two.